Hey everyone, welcome back to the SC300 episodes. We had a long weekend. We took Monday off and we were at Big Bear with the team. We had a lot of fun. Check out that footage here. Wake up! Morning! It's like 4:50, but we're gonna go to Big Bear. Whoa, look at the cloud.
So
wait, you already put your snow gear on, Turbo? Oh wait, it's built in.
I did some cool flips. Oh no!
All right, so it's Tuesday. We're gonna be back on the SC300. You guys saw all those cool parts that need to be in this car and on the engine, etc. First, we gotta dig into this, gotta get the motor out, gotta put some new parts on the new motor that's going in, swap the trans and clutch over. We got fuel pumps to put in the tank, all kinds of stuff happening. Let's get started. Update. You guys have been watching a lot of stuff that we just did. Myself and Mark started helping on the time lapses, but look, we've opened up the trunk here. We ripped out all the trunk interior, the spare tire's gone. We're gonna mount this anti-gravity battery back there in the corner. Usually you'll mount it on the opposite side of the driver, but in this case it doesn't even weigh anything. So cool, it's like 12 pounds. And we need to run the power cable up front, so we just thought leave it on that side. That's what we're doing there. The tank outside airing out because we have to modify that tank a little bit to have fuel return, because stock is a 2000 SC300 does not have a return. It's returnless system, which we don't want to run it that way. We just want to do a fuel pressure regulator, normal style return with a flex fuel sensor. So we're gonna have to modify that tank. Check this out, motor's out, trans is out, stuff's all blown apart over here with the clutch, transmission. Here's the fresh motor. I've been double checking everything so that there's less crap I'm gonna have to try and build when it's in the car. I'm trying to build all the lines and put as many brackets on as I can and whatnot. Let's quickly go over this. I added a oil feed line for the turbo. It's -4, and since this is an NA block, you can't grab it from over there. I made this little setup right here, if you guys can see it. So this is oil coming out that'll go out to where I have the filter relocation set up on this car. So the oil out is gonna feed that little -4 line that you guys see going over to the turbo, and then these will go to the cooler wherever I mount the oil filter relocation. Then we put an AN fitting here on the pump on top and bottom, because we're just gonna run -10 or 8 to wherever we can. I think that's a -8, so wherever we can mount the reservoir, and then that'll just be a new high pressure line. I was able to make this is the return going into this radium fuel pressure regulator and pulse damper combo, and so that's mounted there. This will go to the flex fuel sensor. This is coming out of the regulator, and then we even put these stock coils out of that motor in there. So we're making progress. Next thing I was gonna install is this radium. This is for a Mark IV Supra relocation kit for, or just like a bolt-in kit that you can get for a radium high flow inline fuel filter. So I'm gonna mount, and I had tested, it'll kind of slightly different location, but it'll fit on the SC300, even though it's for a Mark IV Supra. So I was gonna raise this up, put it underneath where it goes. We're gonna have to build some AN lines to it and from the tank. That tank's kind of a pain to work with. It's not a great design, but we're gonna keep using the stock tank and just put a single pump in there. You'll see, we'll show you kind of how we do that pump and where we weld fittings onto that steel tank. So you'll see, we'll show you. Hopefully get the motor back in later today. I just have to get done with all the little miscellaneous stuff on there, then I can put the clutch on that motor, put the trans on that motor, and then it's not hard getting the motor in and out. It'll be hard doing all the other little miscellaneous things, so I gotta see how that goes. I'm trying to time lapse and show you guys everything we can here. I'm gonna get back to work. So I got a big mess over here. Stock tank is out, stock pump and returnless setup, weird setup they had here. I'm gonna need this little hanger piece. Not gonna need the wiring. I'm gonna need this cover piece, and I'm not gonna need necessarily that wiring. What I'm gonna do, drill this out, drill a hole there so I can put this bulkhead setup, which is on a -8 bulkhead pass-through. This is from Fuel Lab. They designed this so that you can pass through a stock tank. See how it's even got an O-ring inside there, and then it'll seal up nice. So what I'll do is, there's a flat enough surface if I was to drill like right through this area, but back here, this will kind of just sit right there. You'll see when I'm done. These 3 wires go to the controller. These 3 wires go to the pump, 3 and 3. I'll set that up. This, I'll probably just put the little pump controller like Velcroed here, and let's look at that pump controller. It's right here. Cool little part from Fuel Lab. I will take these 3 wires and they will go to this. So it's a lot of butt connectors I'm gonna do. But then on these 2 wires, there would be 3. This white one would be your pulse width modulation for controlling brushless pump. But what I'm gonna do is just power and ground. That pump will kind of be running at full speed the whole time, which is kind of what any other pump would. It's just overriding it to not be controllable. Now it's just all in, which is how other pumps would be. The difference with this pump to other pumps is this one is brushless, and this little guy is capable of 700 horsepower, so that's way overkill for what we're doing. Probably gonna go over to the fab table and handle all this stuff here, and then I'll be back after I have it kind of set up and did some of the wiring, and I'll show you guys before it goes together. Go over some stuff that I just did. We dried this tank out, aired it out. I even had like a heat gun blowing in there for a while to dry it out. Got it pretty much empty. It still smelled like fuel. I MIG welded some -6s down there. The reason I MIG welded is because in the past when we've TIG welded on these tanks, didn't end up so well. So let's see if we can see down in there. Yeah, you can see the pump down in there. So see how it's in the bottom of that basket? Put it like upside down, but you guys get the idea. There's the little basket in the bottom of the tank. I had to cut the pump hanger a little bit, use stainless clamp the pump that I already showed you guys down. So now it's basically kissing the bottom of that little OEM basket. Then talked about removing that other little wire there. So I trimmed it off, drilled this out with a step bit. So now it's the exact same size as that hole. Tighten this down really tight. There's an O-ring on this side, so shouldn't leak. And as you can see, that's all nice and sealed up from fuel lab. I used some Ray Chem and I put a DTM on the end of it. Not a DTM, just a DT, a Deutsch connector. Same thing over here. Let's rock this back. I got this little zip tied up all nice. I didn't finalize this yet because I don't know which is power or ground, and I think it's gonna be opposite of what we think, and I don't have the wiring book and I didn't Google it or look it up. So what I'm gonna do is wait till we can power up the car again, and then I'll test with a multimeter which one's which one's ground, which one's power. And the reason I cut it here and just left this, so now we can just plug right in, OEM factory wiring, boom, right to it. Super simple. It's probably gonna be the simplest car I ever built, but then it has a super nice fuel pump in there. And we did the fittings on the bottom. I left those caps on there, but this is a really weird banjo style setup, stock, and we've had them like leak out of the banjo before when they get old. There's not really a good solution, so even though it's threaded like an M1215, there's like this offset keyway. It's the dumbest thing. So there's that offset, so it's like directional and makes you put it in exactly that way. That hole always leaks. So we've even drilled, tapped that hole, put an Allen plug in it with Loctite. Still leaked. We're not playing around this time on this car. MIG welded it, and I'm gonna spray it with some Steel It or something like that and clean it up so it doesn't rust. Still putting this submersible E85 hardline in there, and then I had a clamp hanging out down inside here, stainless clamp that I can clamp tight on there. But I wanted to get like a little bit further. I'm thinking like I can get it to come to that shoulder. It's just really tight. I'll get it, then I'll seal it up, and then I'm gonna put this bulkhead piece back on, and then we can put this back in the car. Not today, today's pretty much over, but we could put it in tomorrow, build some XRP feed line to the engine, return line from the flex fuel sensor I mounted. After that, I might throw the engine back in. Let's go over there and look at that guy. Engine is pretty much ready to go. Last time I showed you guys didn't have the trans on it, so I threw that on there. Maybe one or two other details, nothing major. We can put that in pretty soon. Mark right now is working on mounting an intercooler. We put this Treadstone oil cooler right here, so you guys see that. That's down in there. It was super simple to mount down there. He's gonna build some stuff with cups and bungs for the intercooler. It's a Treadstone intercooler, then we'll have that in there. Then I'll probably hose it out in the engine bay tomorrow because it's kind of gross in there. The battery like exploded at some point and kind of rotted out. Check out that ground. The ground was literally that's how your battery dies right there. Ground is failing. Oh, let's show you guys. Mounted anti-gravity battery back in here. Made a little mount, Mark did that. Then he ran 1 gauge all the way up to the front. That's the positive. This is negative. We can connect this when we're ready to go. The power out of the way so we can do more space in the engine bay for intercooler piping. This car's coming together quick because it's simple. Had all the parts. We've done it a bunch. Okay, that's it for today. We'll talk again tomorrow, guys. Back at it, guys. Check out the trunk. Got a big ugly gas tank in there. Battery's done. Subframe bushings are in. You can see them, the red. Fuel lines are in. They're on the other side, but they run down there. Flex fuel's in. Radium fuel filters in. Guess what else is in? Boom, the engine's in. Looks kind of cool. A little different style than we're normally used to seeing right here. That's a little lower than we thought it'd be, but it's kind of cool. Something else that showed up today is this jumper harness from Panic made. This will just plug right in. Let me show you an example. here's like a little flying lead he makes for air intake temp, and then here is your stock MAF, and it just plugs into that, utilizes those 2 wires. Simple, simple. Here he has a little lead that does, this is like a dual pressure sensor, temp sensor. It'll do like oil and pressure temp. That one, I don't know where I'll put that yet. Probably in the oil sandwich plate. That we don't even have mounted yet, so I'll show you guys where I put that. But then this end of it goes back over to here, which this is in by the ECU, so down inside there. This is for your wideband. Gives you plenty of room to snake a wideband in there, because that'll all be coming in and out of this general area where the ECU is. Another thing he thought about, see these go to your O2 sensors. So then you can steal O2 wires to do boost solenoid, repurpose the O2 wires and connect them into that. And then the other one would be for your flex fuel sensor. And let me show you where those connectors are. One of them is this one, I believe. And one of them, probably this one. Oh, it's that one right there. So there, the other one's way over here, because that used to wrap around here, but we're gonna have to cut this open, pull some of the wires back onto this side of the motor, and only crank sensor wiring and a couple other small ones, and like those 2 O2 sensor ones will come up over here, and then we can reroute from there to the flex and to the boost solenoid. That's happening right now. Mark was wiring for injectors because it has the Deech Works in there, and we had removed the stock ones. That's all that we did today, but that's a lot of stuff. That's the progress. We'll keep going and show you guys once we can raise the car up. I'll show you underneath it again. So you guys saw what we were working on, but we didn't talk to you. We were just hard at work, time-lapsing away. We have finished mounting pretty much everything, and now we're on to wiring and doing some last little vacuum line plumbing. Come take a look in the engine bay. Look at how low that turbo sits. Like the stock engine loom had a lot of stuff that came this way on this side of the motor, but we have reduced it to only being these 2 things. Or we took the stock harness and trimmed back the loom, which is like this cover sheathing. We kind of repurposed some stuff. The reason we did that is because manifold is on the other side now. Throttle body used to sit right here, but now the turbo and there's more heat. The reason Treadstone designed this way is so it can work with your stock throttle body. This turbo is so small, it would be perfect for that, but I wanted to try out that new part we made, the billet adapter that's for the GE lower runner to the GTE upper, so then we did that. Cool thing about this car was it's a 2000, so it already had VVTI cam and crank sensors, so we could use the stock harness. If it was an older SC300, you would have had a distributor here. On this throttle body, it has the exact same plugs as this car's older throttle body had. The one that's not older or newer than necessarily that throttle body, but it's the different one, and all the plugs just plug right in. The only thing we had to do was extend TPS wires because it wouldn't reach up over to that side. Speaking of that side, look, we were able to fit that drift motion power steering reservoir in that tight area, plumbed that. We finished the plumbing of the oil cooler. I don't know if I even showed you guys that we installed this oil filter relocation block. We put our temp and oil pressure sensor in there. It's a dual sensor. Link uses these a lot. It's pretty cool. So you have temp and pressure in the same one. These go to and from the motor and the oil cooler, and the oil cooler is sandwiched in between Treadstone Intercooler. It's also a Treadstone oil cooler down inside there. You might not be able to see it, but between like radiator and the intercooler, that pretty much covers all of the mechanical stuff that we had to do, and we're just on to wiring. I had said the last plumbing, I was plumbing this boost solenoid. That's gonna control boost through that. We have an internal gate. I've showed you this before, but down underneath there, way down there, is the internal wastegate 75 actuator from TurboSmart to control this little baby Borg Warner. Some other cool things we installed and did was downpipe. Mark built that yesterday. And then this charge piping that you guys saw for the intercooler. We're pretty much the last leg of this build, but there's always more things that you forget about, and then you're like, oh, didn't do that. We do have a handbrake coming for it. You guys will want to see that. And then, yeah, we'll have to replumb the handbrake because right now it's like a push version and the other one's going to be a pull. So a little bit more things, but we're close to being able to start it up. We have no fluids in here, so we'd have to prime the oil pump because it's a fresh pump. It's not a fresh motor, but you got to prime that. You can't just fire it off and then let it dry spin for a while until the pressure. So close though, huh, Mark? Yeah, we almost got him to talk. Camera wasn't here, he would have said something. But we're gonna keep working on it. We'll show you once we have stuff back together and stuff a little further. And we'll show you what we do with this wiring when it's all cleaned up. Because we are gonna use this stuff, but it's kind of long, so we're gonna have to like bundle it up and then loom it, or loom it and then hide it, something like that. All right guys, so a lot has happened on this car in a short amount of time. Mark and I handled all of what you see is done in about 3 days. Still a little bit more to happen. What we're gonna do in the next episode is install the satin black coated intercooler piping. All the piping got coated, and then we're gonna put the ECU in. We gotta prime the oil system, and then we should be able to start it. So look forward to us getting this thing running and driving in the next episode. See you guys soon.